Hello everybody, my name is Marlo, and in this video I'm going to be building a mangrove swamp village in the 1.19 snapshots. As I'm sure you know, recently we've been seeing lots of new additions that will be coming our way in the next update of Minecraft 1.19, the Wild update. One of those additions is the new mangrove biome, which is very similar to the current swamp biome that we have. So I had the idea to build a custom village inside of it using all of the new and beautiful blocks we now have at our disposal. Unfortunately, at the current time of this recording, the mangrove biome doesn't actually exist in the new snapshots. We've only really seen teasers of it online. So for this video, I'm just going to be using a regular swamp biome. But the focus, of course, is going to be on those new blocks that we have. When it's all done, you're just going to have to use your imagination and pretend all of these oak trees are luscious mangrove trees. So I've been searching around this world for a while now, and I've eventually found a swamp biome that I like the look of. I'm going to be using this area right here, predominantly this section. We do have this very cool ravine flowing through the center here, but I don't know how effective that's actually going to be to use in the build. So I think I'm going to clear some of these trees, make some room for us, and then we can pick out a block palette for this village. So I haven't cleared all that many trees, mainly because I would like some of these to stick around, and if you just grow an oak tree in the swamp biome, it won't look like this. It'll be much smaller. So I thought it'd just be easier if we could leave them be, and I'll get rid of more if I need to. And I can also build more if I need to at the end. So with the trees cleared, it's now time to pick out our block palette. Spoiler alert, we're going to be using lots of mangrove wood, as well as the glorious new mud bricks. I really like these. I cannot wait to build with them today. So of course we have the mangrove wood. I'm going to be using basically all of this all of the time. That's going to be probably the main building block we use, alongside with the mud bricks, with the mud and packed mud as well here. Probably just going to shove some of this at the bottom of the lake. Honestly, I don't know how well this is going to work in the buildings themselves. And then we also have these lovely new frog lighting blocks and the mangrove roots and leaves, which I can probably use to bush up some of the builds a little bit. However, there's nothing to say I can't use older blocks, so I'm just going to gather a few that I think are going to pair well with the blocks we've selected here. So these are the blocks I've selected. Of course, this includes the variants of them too, like the slab, stairs, trapdoors, and that sort of thing. I'm probably not going to use all of them. I may add some others into the mix, but yeah, I think all of these go reasonably well with the mangrove and the mud. So I guess now we can get started with the building. And the first thing I'm going to do, just to kind of get an idea of the style and the actual block palette that I'm going to be using, is to just come up with one build to start us off with. Just a simple house, and then we can go from there. So over here is the first mock-up. Very simple, but it could be simpler. It could also be a whole lot more detailed. Trust me, this is quite plain from my usual building style, but I don't want to go too over the top with it, because I want to find a good balance between naturally generating Minecraft villages, which are renowned for being quite plain and boring, which is fine. I think they actually are very well suited, and a mix between that and like a super detailed style, which is kind of what I lean more towards. So something that could potentially fit well in the game, but maybe just a nicer looking version of it, and I think this is a good middle ground. So my plan, if you haven't figured it out already, is to build most of these houses on stilts, and then we're going to have pathways connecting them all. So I think maybe the next thing to do would just be to figure out where all of the buildings are going to go. The village we're making today isn't going to be huge, by the way. It's only going to be a small little community. Okay, so I've placed down some frog lights, and these are meant to represent a different type of build we're going to be doing. The pearlescent frog lights, these ones right here, dotted around the outside, I think we have 6 of them in total. Maybe 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are going to be the houses that we're going to be building. It may not be quite that many. I may get rid of a couple, but those are the rough areas I would like to build them in. We then have the verdant frog light here and here. Those are just going to be some other builds. I haven't quite figured out what they're going to be just yet. Something that isn't just a structure like this. And then lastly, we have the ochre froglight, if that's how you pronounce it, right in the middle here. This is going to be like a central area in the middle of the village, probably just some sort of big platform with something on top of it. Once again, haven't got that far in the thought process yet. So I'm going to pick up my blocks again and get started on doing some more of the houses and other buildings in the same style as this one. I've just finished the third house and I can already tell I don't think I'm going to be able to fit 6 in this area. So maybe let's just get rid of a couple of them. That one there, I reckon we might have to get rid of this one too. Just keep the single building over here, which may have to be moved to more this location and push this block further over this way. Just trying to make some more room for myself. So one more building here and another one over there. Then the central bit and 2 other separate builds. Yeah, I think that should work. What do you guys think about the builds so far, by the way? I hope you like them. And just like that, we have all 5 houses fully built. They are very similar, but that's kind of the point, right? You want houses to look of a similar style if they're consisting in the same village, which this one is. I think my personal favorite is maybe this one right here for no real reason. And by the way, I haven't done the interiors and I will not be doing the interiors. It just isn't really needed, in my opinion. At least not for a video like this, when I'm probably, realistically speaking, never gonna come back to this world once I'm done building here. It's just for the sake of the video. So just to remind ourselves, these frog lights right here, these 3 that I'm pointing at, are where I want to make another build that isn't really a building, right? Now, this one is not having much room, so I think we're actually going to get rid of that one and maybe just do 2 more in these 2 spots. We could always maybe get rid of this tree and do something else afterwards, but I think if we just stick with 2 for now, that would be good. The only thing is, I honestly have no idea what I actually want to build with these. I'm thinking we could maybe do a little bit of a farming area for one. That would probably make sense to have in a village like this. A place to get some sort of a food would be a smart decision. And maybe something to do with fishing. I feel like that would be another good food source for a village like this, even though it's very shallow waters. I imagine there would still be fish swimming around in here if this were to be a bit more realistic. But maybe that's something I could do in the center here. I'm honestly not sure. I'm going to have a think, a bit of a build around, and I'll update you afterwards, of course. This is actually quite a neat design for a crop farm. It's not very big and probably not practical, but I actually really quite like it. This kind of 2-layered system. It's pretty cool. So as you can see, sticking with the mangrove wood and some spruce added in there because I think those 2 go pretty well together. That's kind of what I've kept up with for most of this, alongside jungle wood actually. That's probably worth mentioning. This goes really well, especially if you're using the mud bricks next to it. Really like that. But yeah, just get with jungle or spruce and mangrove for this. So we've got some potatoes on the bottom. We've hydrated them behind these trap doors here. Some carrots on the other side, then beetroot and wheat at the top. And we've done a similar thing on the top one with that waterlogged trap door. And then we've covered this bottom one up with some trap doors just so you can't see the dirt. And it all looks nice and flush. So whilst I was building this, I was having a think on what I should do for the remaining 2 sections that we have. This middle section, which I think I'm actually going to turn into like a central section for the village. Of course, it's naturally in the middle, and we're going to make it a place where the villagers can just kind of go fishing and chill out and hang out. And it's not really going to have any sort of function exactly. It's just going to kind of be a communal space for the villagers to go to. And then over here on this section, I thought we could build the quote-unquote entrance to the village. So I'm imagining you would have to access this on boat, unless I guess you could come from this way. But let's say if you're coming in on boat, maybe from the sea, we could possibly carve out a bit of a river through this section potentially. So we'll build some sort of docking area for this section. I think that could be pretty cool too. Keeping it nice and simple for this one. As you can see, we've got 3 little stations, or just docking points, I guess we could call them, which we can put some boats in. And of course, now we have a chest in a boat, which is awesome. So I'm thinking we have a spruce, a mangrove, and also we'll just stick an empty jungle one in there just to make it a little bit different. So there we go. Super simple docking point for the incoming and outgoing boats to the village. So all we're left with is this central area, which I've already explained, but along with that comes all of the pathways that will go around and connect up all of the houses, as well as the farming area and the docking station over here. And I might do a little offshoot maybe to some land just behind here, so if you were to access this village not on a boat, just on foot, then you could do that too. I think for the pathways that I'm going to build connecting all of these houses, I would like them to be quite rickety and almost falling apart, a little bit like what I've done with the roofs for all of the building, at least where the mud brick is concerned. I think it just adds to the charm of the village, and yeah, I'm going to give it my best shot. It's not something I'm particularly good at, this sort of building, the ruined style, if that's what you want to call it, but if I can pull it off, I think it'll look really, really good. So I'm going to give it my best shot. Thank goodness we only have 7 offshoots, otherwise we would have just made a spider in the middle. Yeah, I kind of realize it now looks like that a little bit. Maybe a spider with 1 leg missing. But if you take a different approach and maybe don't look at it that way, I think it actually looks really kind of cool. So, as I said, I want to go for a real rickety and real put together pathway, a little bit all over the place, which is definitely what this is. It does not look very secure. There are no safety railings, and even when there are in the middle here, they're still not very good. You could definitely fall off and end up in the swamp pretty easily with this design, but I actually quite like it. So of course we have all the wibbly wobbly pathways going off to the houses and the farms and the docking station over there, but in the middle I thought I'd just make this sort of like a bit of a storage area for the village, just a communal place to hold all of their items, and I thought maybe this central hole in the middle is where they could kind of hang out and go fishing. So maybe they just pop down this trap door or just fling their fishing rod over in the middle and they could just hang about here and chat and fish away. I don't think we really need that much space for fishing because there's only going to be like a handful of people living here, so we got 4 spots at least, which I would say is enough. One other thing that I have done is I've added some of the mud here underneath the water, kind of similar to how clay is formed in the swamp biome at the moment, just in little patches. I thought that was a nice little touch. So there's one last thing I want to try, possibly adding in some mangrove roots, most likely, and maybe some leaves as well. So I thought it'd be cool if we could kind of drape some of these across the buildings just a little bit like that, you know? I honestly have no idea if this is going to look any good, so I kind of want to give it a bit of a tester first. Maybe let me try out on this house and then we can see if we want to do it a bit more in the village. If I'm honest, I don't actually like that. I think it could look cool if I maybe refined it a little bit. I'm just not sure how to refine it. I could maybe mix in some mangrove leaves. But yeah, all in all, I think the village is going to look better if I miss out on that. Because imagine this for all of the buildings. It might be a little bit too much. So with that, I'm going to say we are done with the Mangrove Swamp Village. How do you guys like how this turned out? I'm actually really quite happy with it. This video was a bit of a spur of the moment idea. I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it. So for just kind of whipping it up on the spot here, I'm actually kind of pleased with the finished product. I just want to say thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, I've had lots of fun putting this video together. It's a little bit different to my usual ones, so of course that was nice to break out of the routine and do something a little bit different, and it's always fun playing with the new blocks that we're going to be getting in the next update. I cannot wait for 1.19. It's going to be super duper fun. But thank you everybody so much for watching once again, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.